The Sunday Telegraph. Nick, what have they got on their front pages that's almost linked?
Yeah, so linked story is Sunak set to ignore European judges blocking Rwanda plan. And the idea is that Sunak could get around this legally, this attempt to ground the deportation flights using the new Illegal Migration Act, which always sounds to me like they're saying the act itself is illegal, like they've just got it through somehow. But it's the Illegal Migration Act. And Suella Braverman could also block any future injunctions, is the idea. And again, I see this as a perfectly positive thing. Why should this European body get to ground our flights? And, you know, do they really have a higher standard of rights and freedoms than us? I doubt it, since we invented most of this stuff. So, you know, that's my thought on that. I don't know if you want to say more about it or go on to the Shapps story.
Anything on that slice of it, Lewis?
Well, I think what it is it's like, I think they passed a law, if I got this right. They passed a law recently called the Small Boats Bill, but it's called something else, which says they can basically disobey the European Court of Justice of Human Rights, and so what they're saying is they might just say we're not going to listen to the European Court, or we're not going to let them stop us.
Is this, just without getting too much down a rabbit hole, is this one of those things where every so often there's a law where, because you don't like it, you like the idea of being able to go to Europe? Yeah. Like the Human Rights Act was used to manage to stop someone being deported to America. We liked that when we didn't like the idea of America nicking our hackers. So is it one of those laws where you only like it when it disagrees with you? Don't like it?
There could be something in that, yeah. I mean, but what do you think? I mean, if we can't do such a simple, basic policy as deporting a few people to Rwanda, is that really workable?
It's not a few people. They're talking about tens of thousands of people. They're doing it. I mean, the problem with Rwanda...
Have they been in touch with you about it yet?
You know what? They should ask me. I mean, they let me into the country, so they're not going to listen. I think the problem is that everybody knows it's a form of punishment. And we're against any kind of punishment in this country or America anymore. They don't want to punish people. And they know being sent to Rwanda is not going to be fun for them.
Before we take up too long on this, let's move on to what is probably the biggest story on the front page of the Telegraph.
Yeah, big story. Shapps to send UK troops to Ukraine. Obviously, this is a development because the army would now, in this, train Zelensky's military on the ground, and the Navy might move into the Black Sea. So this is an escalation, as I'm sure you know. So, and it depends if you think it's a good or a bad thing, I suppose. If Leo was here, he'd be shouting about why it's a great thing, I'm sure. But some people will see this as an escalation, Britain getting more involved than we have to. I suppose a counter might be if it puts more pressure on Russia and ends the war sooner. That's another argument. But some people see it as not a good thing.
This is an horrendous thing. That first of all, they're not putting troops exactly. They're training the troops. They're bringing the troops home. They're sending British troops to the Ukraine to be trained there. So we're sending trainers. That's exactly what happened in Vietnam. That's how it all started, with Kennedy sending training people. I don't know, do you remember that? You know, because you don't remember it, but that's what happened. So that's a huge problem. The Russians are prone to sending missiles that are going to kill those British troops. Once those British troops are killed, boom, Britain is in it. So it's a nightmare. But the big way, before you go on, the biggest nightmare is right now, and nobody knows this, Russia is winning. They are winning. The problem isn't getting Russia to stop doing what it's doing. The problem is getting the Ukraine to just say, okay, we're going to accept things the way they are. And the way the Russians are winning is they basically blocked off all of the grain from leaving the country through the Black Sea. Well, that's the Russian side, but through whatever that area is over there. And so they can't get the grain out.
It's the first time I've heard you say anything positive about eating carbs.
Well, it feeds the Ukraine, and they're in deep trouble. And if we send our ships there, what's going to happen is the Russians are going to attack those ships, and then we'll be in a state of war with Russia.
The positive is he at least said he was going to probably increase defense spending and ruled out diversity quotas in the military. I only have one line on that story, but I already know that's a good thing.